Hello and welcome back to the Watford Way podcast. And as usual, I'm joined by Finn. Finn, how you doing today?
Hello, I'm all right, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Are you looking forward to Christmas? Obviously, we're only a few days away now. Have you asked Santa for anything in particular? Is there one present you're waiting for under the Christmas tree?
Absolutely, my Wesley Who away shirt, obviously.
Absolutely
But
brilliant,
no,
Finn.
I'm very much looking forward to breaking up. As you can tell by the bags under my eyes, I would need a rest.
I think you need some moisturiser actually to get rid of
Mhm.
them.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably right.
Quick question about Christmas. You
Go
got
on.
your Christmas dinner, Finn. You got your turkey, pigs in blankets. What is your favourite item on a Christmas dinner? So pick one item from your Christmas dinner that you could eat for the rest of your life. What would that item be?
That is a very difficult question. You got to say pigs in blankets, haven't you?
I
Really?
think so. I think so.
Yeah.
Obviously, apologies to any vegans out there as well. But yeah, pigs and blankets for me, I do love them. So would you agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, I could
Yeah.
have been really weird and said sprouts, but
Yeah, I'm not a Sprouts fan. I mean, they're on the plate, but I don't think they get touched really.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a Sprouts fan. But yeah, moving on, I'm sure I'll add in some more Christmas questions throughout the podcast. Lots to talk about today. Me and Finn were talking a couple of days ago, actually, and it was quite funny because the last time we recorded this podcast, the title was Are Watford in a relegation battle? And now I'm sure the question we're all asking is our Watford in a playoff race? Are we in a playoff battle? And we'll discuss that later on in the podcast. I think we potentially could be, although other people do have different opinions on that. But Finn, today we'll start with the breaking news of the day as we are recording this, and that is the fact that Troy Deeney has been appointed as the new permanent manager of Forest Green Rovers. What's your initial reaction to that news?
I'm intrigued to see how it goes because I think following his social media and stuff and all the stuff he does on the internet, he's been working really hard towards all of his badges, all of his coaching merits, and all that sort of stuff. Um, but I can't. I want him to do well. I really want him to do well
Yes.
because he's my all-time favourite Watford player. But I really don't think he will.
No.
Don't get me wrong. I
Especially
think
where you look at where they're at in the league as well. I mean, they're in League Two, obviously, which is notoriously, a very hard league to survive and do well in, especially with kind of the resources they've got at Forest Green. They're rock bottom as well. And yeah, as a first job in management, in my opinion, it's not necessarily ideal. And I believe he can still put himself on the pitch if he wants to as well, Finn, which would be quite funny as a manager subbing himself on. I'm not quite sure I've ever seen that before in professional football.
well, Ryan Giggs did it when he was interim, didn't he? I can't.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it
Actually,
after
yeah,
Sir Alex? Well,
not
I think
sure.
I don't know, but yeah, he subbed himself on. That was funny. But yeah, he probably can still sub himself on. I don't really know. But yeah, like I say, I don't see him doing very well this season. But what I can see happening is them finishing rock bottom, dead last, whatever, going down,
Yes,
and then bouncing straight back up under him.
yeah,
I think it'll be a learning curve, and he's had a career in football full of difficult. He's had difficulty getting to the top. Like he's had barriers throughout his whole life, going to prison, all that sort of stuff. So I don't think being rock bottom of League Two will phase him, and I think he'll stick out. And eventually, I think he'll do a good job. But I think he'll go down this season.
yeah. It's interesting because as a player, he did numerous interviews, and obviously Troy Deeney's a very big character. He's done lots of podcasts and interviews since he kind of left Watford, and he said that Marco Silva was the manager he enjoyed working under the most at Watford, albeit only for a short period of time. So, do you think he'll take any aspects of Marco Silva into his own management, or what? Basically, the question is, what are you expecting from a Troy Deeney football team? Are you expecting 4-4-2 Brexit football, or are you expecting Pep Guardiola tiki-taka football?
Without having seen a Troy Deeney team before, you'd automatically assume 4-4-2 hoofball, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You'd think
Yeah.
about back into his career how it worked so well with him and Vidra, him and Igalo, him and Delafeu, and you'd think big man and little man up top, solid in the middle, hoof. And you'd think that's
Yes.
what to go for. But like I say, without actually seeing a Troy Deeney team play football, who knows? Who knows?
who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But of course, we wish Troy Deeney all the best, a certified Watford legend. Talking about legends of the Watford way, we're going to talk about you, Finn, very briefly, because it's come to my attention that you have a slight addiction of buying Watford shirts this season. Firstly, the shirt you're wearing now, you've only just brought. I'm going to turn around and show everyone what is on the back. It is, of course, the Canadian sensation that is Ismail Kone. And yeah, Finn is planning to buy a lot more Watford shirts this season. Do you want to go ahead and explain?
Well, yeah. I mean, I suppose first of all, I'm going to go and say it's like I can't think of the right word, but like well done to Valerian Ismail for making a squad so likable that I want 6 Watford shirts this season.
Yes, yeah.
Because there's 6 players I wanted on the back of the shirt, and I couldn't like figure out who to go for. In the end, so far, I've gone with Espria, Hoot, and Kone, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the end of the season, when shirts are like 20 quid, I'm thinking of buying another 3 with Kayembe, Bayo, and Sema on the back.
Yes.
Like I say, it's a testament to how much Val has changed the outlook of the squad. Like, go back a year, and I couldn't think of 6 Watford players I liked, let alone wanted on the
No.
back. So
Probably João Pedro was the only one, really, wasn't he?
João Pedro and Sarr
Yeah.
was about it, really. I did quite like Counter Chargy though.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, the chant as well. I mean, that was absolute classic, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I like Watford shirts and I like Watford, so I'm going to buy more.
Yeah, I actually like the colour of the one you're wearing as well. I can just imagine myself like abroad on holiday, sitting by the pool, nice blue Watford shirt. Yeah, that looks really, really nice. And yeah, I think I've asked Santa for one of the shirts you're wearing as well, Finn. So we'll see what happens on Christmas Day. Hopefully Santa will grant my wish coming true. Fingers crossed. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, moving on to the most recent Watford game. And what game it was, Finn, I'm assuming you watched. I certainly watched it myself. Watford absolutely demolishing Preston by 5 goals to 1. The first half was a little bit iffy. Preston largely dominated the first 10 to 15 minutes, but as soon as the second half began, Matthias Martins went through on goal, slotted it away, and from that moment onwards, really, Watford absolutely dominated the game. Some great finishing, some great goals. I thought Ismail Kone was sensational. Everyone was sensational. Finn, what's your thoughts on that performance?
I think we were really good. Just to put it simply, I think Watford were really good. I think we soaked up the pressure well when it came, and we looked absolutely ruthless on the counter attack. We looked clinical as well, and I genuinely cannot remember the last time I've been able to say that about a Watford team. So look, we're looking good at the moment. But one thing I will say is Preston made it very easy for us to look good. They were
Yes.
awful. I cannot believe how they are eighth. They were truly dreadful. It's like when your Sunday league manager tells you to play out from the back and you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. So you pass your goalkeeper, pass it to your centre back, and they pass around a bit, and then they just hoof it up forward anyway. It was
Yeah.
weird. I like Ryan Lowe. Well, I don't like him. I think he's a bit of a one, but I like his football usually. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened on Saturday, but yeah, Watford looked really good, and like you say, Ismail Kone, Edo Kayembe, Vakumbo, they were all incredible. Bayo, 100% was the best game he's ever had in a Watford shirt.
Oh yeah,
All
I agree. I agree.
all the things that we've ever been like critical about with Bayo have been he's no good at hold up play, he's no good at linking up play. Credit to him, he's good at pressing, maybe not so good at finishing, but he took his 2 goals well.
I thought the
Um,
second goal especially was a great finish.
it really was,
Yeah.
yeah. Although the first goal was a really good finish as well. There's not many strikers these days who are willing to put their heads in dangerous situations. So
And
I
can I just say,
appreciate
what a ball by Wesley Hoot for that goal, by the way. Sensational, because he sent the defender with the fake cross
yeah.
initially. And then the delivery into Bayer was great. And then, as you say, yeah, he stuck his head on the end of it. And yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah, like if Watford can keep pushing on and keep playing how we're playing at the moment, I see no reason why we can't finish in the playoff places. I suppose it's just about getting that consistency.
Yeah.
And like you say, we are being fairly consistent in the moment. What's it like? 13 games and 2 losses, but they've only
Yeah,
been to
I think the statistic is 12 games and then the 2 losses. And I think the losses come against, wasn't it, Leicester and Southampton? Is that right?
Leicester and Ipswich. We drew against
Leicester
them.
and Ipswich, that's it, yeah.
Yeah. So, like I say, if we're consistent, then I see no reason why we can't finish in the playoffs.
I agree. And yeah, talking about the playoffs and what Watford aims to do going forward, I wasn't going to mention it on the podcast because we're still a little bit off January.
Yeah.
But I think Finn wanted to talk about it very briefly. And that is the January transfer window, the opportunity for Watford to strengthen the squad and yeah, hopefully finish as high up the table as possible. So my first question to you, Finn, is do you actually think Gino Pozzo is going to get his wallet out and spend some of that sweet dollar bills that he's got? Because Watford are doing so well under Valerian Ismail at the moment. Is it the right time to back him and spend the money on him, or do you go, actually, let's stick with what we've got, the core group we've got? Because I think everyone can agree, the small group we've got are a solid bunch of players. They all seem to gel really well. Do you think he's going to spend that money, or do you think you just stick with what we got until the summer and then invest in Valerian Ismail, during the longer summer transfer window?
I see no reason why we shouldn't. If Gino does have the money, then spend it, absolutely.
Yeah.
The likely, I can't think of the word. If it being likely that Loser and Healy are going to leave, that's at least another 5 million quid in the bank. Reinvest £1 million, and you've got 2 quality players from the EFL. Because personally, I think we need another 6 to play second fiddle to Jake Livermore, because
Yes.
as good as Jake Livermore's been this season, he's old, and I'm sure he knows it as well. So
yes, yeah.
If we were to get another number 6 in and another striker, to obviously, because if Healy's leaving, we're going to need that option. If we get those 2 players, and I think I'll personally be very pleased, and I think Ishmael will be pleased. Although there was the Athletic, they released an article saying that we were looking at certain positions, and I can't remember specifically what they were, but they weren't goalkeeper, DM, and striker, which is what like every Watford fan wants. So yeah, I think it'll be definitely interesting to see what happens, but whether Gino will open his wallet, I don't know. He should, because I never think it's a bad time to back your manager. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think for me, I agree with you. I'd like to see some new players come in. I still see the links on Twitter with Keith and Moore, and I think Lou Orns, who's very reliable, tweeted a couple of days ago that Watford may still potentially be interested in bringing him in. Although I think that would be a very tough deal to do and a very expensive deal to do, albeit he would definitely solve our goal scoring issue up top. I think the only issue for me is just ruining the balance we've got at the moment, really. I'm just liking the balance of the squad. I'm liking the personalities we've got. I don't want to then bring in someone who could potentially be a bad egg to kind of ruin the flow we're in at the moment. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think we should invest. I think, yes, a DM is necessary. I also think maybe a right back for him, because obviously Jeremy Ngakia has got a long-term injury. Ryan Andrews, he's doing so well this season, but if he's out injured, then it looks like Tondeli Bashiri might have to deputise in that position from what we saw at the weekend. So I think DM, right back, and a striker. Finn, would you kind of agree with that?
I'd chuck a goalkeeper in there as well, to be honest. And if we were to limit it to 3 positions, I'd definitely go striker, DM, and goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a big statement to make, saying we need to replace the whole core of the team. But Ben Hamer, who has recently been brilliant, like I say, like Jack Livermore, he's old. Daniel Batman, let's run it, he's a bit rubbish. So I think a goalkeeper, out of all of them, I think goalkeeper's absolute priority. If we don't bring in a goalkeeper this winter or summer, I cannot see what's gone wrong there. Same with DM. I think Livermore's serviceable at this level until the end of the season, but come the end of the season, what are we going to do then? If he starts next season really poorly, because it'll be 37 by then.
Is he 36 currently?
I think.
Wow.
Or is he 35? I don't know. Either way, he's going to be bloody old.
Yes.
So we're going to need another 6 and a striker as well. If Healy's leaving, that leaves Bayer and Rajovic, who are both.
Can I just say around Reece Healy, Finn, it's just really frustrating for me, because I can see so much, raw potential there. And Healy's, getting on himself. I think Healy's 29 years old. But yeah, he just offers something different. I mean, he come on against Hull and nearly scored himself. He did a great flick over the defender and was really unlucky with the shot there. And I just think with Reece Healy, it's a missed opportunity for Watford. And I don't know what the issue is between him and Valerian Ismail. But yeah, for me, that's it's a really frustrating one. Loser as well to another extent. He's got so much talent, but again, if he's a bad egg, I'd like to move him on. But Reece Healey, for me, I think we could probably get away with not buying a striker if Valérien Ismaël just used Reece Healey a little bit more. I think that's my frustration.
I think I completely agree. I mean, personally, I've seen some people on Twitter saying he's a 30-goal a season striker.
Yeah,
I don't think any of us have seen enough of him to say that, but he looks like he offers something different to Bale
yeah,
and Rajovic. You look at Rajovic, absolutely useless everywhere apart from the penalty spot, like towards the goal. He's got
yeah,
about 12 yards where he's any good at football. And don't get me wrong, he's a very useful tool to have, but he can't be your main striker.
mm,
Same with Bayo. He's very, very good at what he does. He's very good at pressing. He's very good at sort of holding the ball. Maybe not quite holding the ball up, but he's very good at pressing and he creates chances for himself. And I think his movement and pressing creates a volume of chances at which his below average shooting
yeah.
it sort of makes up for it, if you know what I mean.
I
Um,
agree. I think with Bio, what you get is a bit of chaos. You don't really know what you're going to get. So he might press a defender, he might get a really good one-on-one opportunity, but he might not take the chance. I don't think he's he's not a clinical finisher, is he? Whereas I think Reece Healey, in most positions, if given a chance, I'd say he'd probably be more clinical. And it's the same with Rivich, as you say, in that penalty area, especially with his head, he's clinical. But yeah, but with Bio, he offers a bit more pressing, a bit more energy, but he's not as clinical, is he?
and like you say, I think Bayo and Rivich are very useful tools to have. But if we really want to be pushing for promotion, I don't think either of them can be our main striker. Now, at the start of the season, I would have thought Healy could have been that man, but for some
Yeah.
reason, I saw someone say that Ishmael couldn't see him working on his own up front, which sorry, excuse me, hang on. All right, I was going to sneeze. I'm good. I'm good. What was I saying? About Healy. About Healy.
Yes, yeah.
Um, yeah, I think he could have worked up front on his own, but I suppose Valérien Ismaël has far more footballing experience than I do. And
Yes.
listen, as frustrating as it is that we haven't used Healy as much as I would have liked, I 100% trust Ismaël. His choice is his choice, and I'll back it fully.
And very quickly on Imran Loser, what's your thoughts on that situation? It very much looks like he's going to be off either in January or in the summer. Again, he's probably one of our most saleable assets. I'm sure Watford, when they do sell him, will get a very good transfer fee. He's still a Moroccan international. And we always say on his day, he can be one of the best players in the division. But I think this season, for whatever reason, really, through maybe lack of work ethic or, a bust up with the manager, we don't know. We've just not seen the best of Imran Loser. So what's your summary on his situation at Watford?
I think I saw on Twitter, I think it might have been Lou Orns, but it might have been someone else say that Ishmael and Loser had a meeting where Ishmael basically told Loser that he's not working hard enough and he's going to be out of the squad until he does. Um, and apparently Loser obviously didn't like that. And if that is true, it's an absolutely pathetic excuse for not playing games. I think, like you say, on his day, I think he'd quite easily be one of the best players in the division. And again, on his day, when he can be bothered, I think he's a brilliant asset to have. I think a midfield of him, Kone or Kayembe, and then Livermore this season would have been absolutely perfect. But if a player doesn't want to be here, sell them. There's no point. It's like when we held Dennis back from AFCON. If a
Yeah.
player doesn't want to be here, then you're going to see it on the pitch. He's not going to try 100%. Just get rid. Sell him while you can get as much money as you can from him. Realistically, what did we buy him for? It was like £9 million,
Yeah, that's
€9 million.
quite a high fee. I mean, we brought him back when we was in the Premier League, so I'm sure we spent quite a lot of money on him. Coming from France, obviously, as well. Yeah, I think we're about right. I'm sure it's about £8 or £9 million.
I don't think we'll recoup much of that. I think maybe 5 million we could get for him, depending on
And I
where he.
still think that, I mean, for me personally, I still think that's a decent fee, and you can definitely get a few, decent Championship players, for that price as well.
Oh god, yeah, 100% agree. If we, for instance, if we sold Loser and brought in maybe a who was that? One that played for Preston. I cannot remember. He was on the bench on Saturday. Was it Ben Whiteman?
Yeah, that's right. Callum Styles, who was linked to with in the summer as well.
Who was that? Sorry.
Callum Styles.
Yeah,
He was at
and then
Barnsley previously.
Daniel Barlaser, who's had a bit of a mare at Middlesbrough recently, but I think they're all solid players at this level, and I think I'd rather have one of them three that really wants to be at Watford and prove that they can be the player in the midfield that runs the game
Mhm.
and everything. I'd rather have that than an Imran loser who's playing
Yeah.
half-arsed and doesn't really want to be there, but he'll stay because it's a good pay packet. Um, but yeah, it's a shame, like you say. But I think it was Man United we played, and Imran loser absolutely ran the game, and I think that was the game where it really clicked for him. You could see his
Mm.
ability, you could see how good he really was. So it will be a shame when he leaves in January, but is what it is. You sign someone who wants to be there, and they'll be a better player in the end.
Absolutely agree. Lots more to talk about in the podcast today. We're going to move on to our player of the season so far. And there's actually quite a lot of candidates for this category for once, which is a nice surprise for him because last season, there's only really one or two players that you could put up
It was João
for
Pedro last season. There was no
yeah,
doubt
yeah,
about
yeah.
it.
That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, lots more contenders this season. So I'm going to throw a few names at you, and yeah, let me know your player of the season so far and why. So we've got Wesley Hoot, Yassir Espria, Ken Sema, Ismail Kone, and Edu Kayembe. Do you agree with me putting forward them names, or is there any other Watford players you'd maybe put in there as a shout for player of the season so far? Matthias Martins potentially.
I think putting Espria and Martins in there's a bit generous. I don't really think Espria's done enough this year to warrant being in that sort of group. Fantastic player, and like you say, his flashes are brilliant. Same with Martins, but I don't think he's probably been consistent enough to warrant being player of this season. For me, it's absolutely without a doubt Wesley Hoot. He's been
Yeah,
incredible all year. I I love the man. He's just a very beautiful man, and I love him, and he's very good at football. So for me, yeah, he's definitely Wesley Hoot without a shadow of a doubt.
yeah,
Mel Kone, Edo Kayembe in particular, I think they've both been brilliant. Maybe Edo more in recent weeks, but
yeah.
they've both been pretty good since they've played this season. But yeah, for me, without a doubt, it's Wesley Hoot. I
And
think
what is
it's
it about Wesley Hoot's, just general play that you like? Is it the fact that because he has made a few mistakes this season as well. He scored, the own goal. He gave away the goal in the Ipswich game as well. So yes, he's had a fantastic season so far. He's also made a couple of crucial mistakes that maybe cost Watford points as well. What is it about Wesley Hoot that you like in particular? Is it his recovery tackles? Is it his 50, 60-yard crossfield passes? What is it about Wesley Hoot, Finn, that you like so much?
I'll tell you a different sort of thing to what you're suggesting is like something to do with his play. I think the reason he'd be my player of the season is if you take him out of that Watford team, if he gets injured or he can't play for whatever reason, I think we absolutely capitulate. I don't
Yeah,
think you take out his left-footed centre back. He's the only good ball playing centre back we've got. He does, but for some reason, he provides a goal threat as well. His finishing
he
has been
does. He does. I mean, he
probably,
stepped over the free kick at the end of the pressing game the weekend as well.
yeah, I think you for a different reason. So I think, yeah, if you take Wesley Who out of that team, I think we capitulate, and I don't think there's another player really that warrants that. You take any other player out of that starting 11, I think we could just about be serviceable without them. So I think for that reason, Wesley Who's got to be my player of the season. I'm willing to overlook your odd one or two mistakes a season because as I'm a centre back myself, and when I play, it's always when you've got the ball, there's always so much more pressure on you than the people in midfield and the people in attack. Because if you lose the ball, you're a bit you're in danger because they're one
Yeah,
on one against the
yeah.
goalkeeper. Then their own goal's a bit, eesh. But yeah,
That
for
was a,
me,
that
it's
was a
Wesley
long
Who.
time ago now. That was
Yeah,
months
yeah,
ago.
we've been good since
Let's
then.
forget
Who
about it.
cares? But yeah, for me, it's Wesley Who without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you. I think Ken Sema is up there just because of the consistency he offers. I don't think really we've had a bad Ken Sema performance this season. He offers a lot to this Watford team. When he was injured at the start of the season, I thought we missed him, greatly. And I think Edu Kayembe is a shout as well. I think when he goes off to AFCON with the Congo, I think it's going to be a massive miss as well. So. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Wesley Hoot is probably the correct answer. But yeah, Kayembe for me is going to be a massive miss at AFCON. Who replaces him? I don't know. It's probably a topic for another day. Does Chakmadase come in? Does Tom Delly come in? We'll have to wait and see. And then Kone as well, especially in recent weeks, I think with Ismail Kone, he's starting to score goals as well for him, which is, I think, is the one thing he needed to add to his game. And, what a couple of goals he scored in the last few weeks as well, especially the one against Preston. His first Watford goal as well at Vicarage Road was fantastic as well, wasn't it?
It was, and he's been absolutely brilliant in the last few games. The only reason I haven't suggested him for player of the season, same with so far player of the season so far. Sorry, the only reason I haven't suggested him or Edo
Yeah,
is purely for the fact because even when we were rubbish, Hoot was still playing well.
yeah,
When we were rubbish, sorry, not Hoot, Kone and Kernbell weren't really playing through no fault of their own. They just weren't in the team. So but yeah, I think they've both been brilliant in recent weeks, and I think, like you say, when Edo, if he goes to Afcon, it'll be a really big miss. And I can't see it. Would for me it would be Tom Daly that comes in to replace him, but I think it
yeah,
would be his physicality in midfield because I think his ability to drive with the ball and not be shrugged off it is something we've missed from a Watford midfield since maybe Capu and Decore.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Another thing about Ishmael, what's his name? Jesus Christ, Ishmael Kone. Is that
You got him
he
in the back of your shirt, Finn. You must know
Yeah,
his
I
name.
know, I know. Another thing about him is recently, in the last couple of weeks, against Preston in particular, for his goal, he really reminded me of João Pedro. The way
Did
he was
he?
driving
Wow.
through midfield, his long
Yeah.
strides as well. The ball seemed to be glued to his feet. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the player that Kone can become. And if he continues, I think he'll be a fantastic player for us and go on to do brilliant things in football.
Yeah, quickly touching before we move on to the last topic of the podcast, quickly touching on the Watford midfield. It's interesting you mentioned Kone and Kayembe were poorer towards the start of the season because it was kind of at that point where Ismail was trying to figure out his best 11. There's a lot of chopping and changing going on. The QPR game, first game of the season, I believe that midfield was Kayembe, Tom Delly, and Lusa, and now our midfield is Livermore, Kone, and Kayembe. So there's been a massive, drastic change, since that first game against QPR. Is that kind of the transition Watford have been on? Ismail trying to find the 11 he prefers, and once he found that 11, I mean, we've been really good ever since then, Finn, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, and I think it's interesting that you say he was experimenting with his preferred 11 because I think the club as a whole is in a bit of a transitional period, coming down from the Premier League and staying down for the first time in like 7 years or
Yeah,
8 years.
yeah.
Something. It's going to be difficult for any club to deal with. So yeah, it's a transitional period, and I think we're going to end up going through purple patches, and we're going to end up going through patches where we just can't win a game. Um, I'm sorry, I've completely forgotten the question you asked me, and I've gone on a tangent. I cannot remember what you said.
I've forgotten myself really. We were just talking about, obviously QPR at the start of the season. We had Loser, Tom
Oh,
Delly,
yeah,
Kayembe in midfield. And we were just talking about really the difference between, the start of the season and where we're at now, really. And as you say, you mentioned Kone and Kayembe were poor at the start of the season, and now they're arguably, one of the best midfielders at the club. So I think that's just demonstrating that the journey we've really been on under Valera and Ismail, really.
yeah. I don't think it's fair to say Kone and Kambe were poor at the start of the season. I didn't think Kambe started the QPR game. I'm probably wrong. I didn't watch it.
I think he did, unless
Yeah.
my memory deceives me.
I've got no idea. I just don't remember him playing much at the start of the season. But like you say, him and Kone, they didn't really play much. They weren't exactly poor, but they weren't good when they came on.
Yeah.
But with a run in the team and with confidence in them, they looked like different players. I mean, oh,
Yes.
Jesus, Taito, I can't remember my words. Um, yeah, they look like completely different players, and I'm all for it.
That's good to hear. Last topic of discussion today is the festive fixtures. Now, of course, the festive period is coming up in England. There's always lots of football on over Christmas and the New Year. And yeah, Watford have a lot of fixtures coming up themselves. Got 4 fixtures over the Christmas period to talk about, Finn. And I want your well, I don't want your score predictions for each, but I want your points accrued predictions. So out of the 12 possible points, how many points do you personally think Watford will accrue over the next 4 games? And so our next 4 fixtures are Blackburn Rovers away from home, obviously this coming weekend. We've got Bristol City at home on Boxing Day. We've got Stoke at home on Friday, the 29th of December. And then we have Plymouth Argyle away on New Year's Day. A very long trip for Watford on New Year's. So a few interesting games there. I think for me, Blackburn and Stoke are probably the toughest out of them games. So Finn, out of them 4, how do you think Watford will fare?
I'd hope for 8 points, I
Okay.
reckon. I think Blackburn and Stoke, like you say, they're difficult games. I think we've got what it takes to beat Plymouth. And who was the second game? Sorry, Bristol.
Plymouth and Bristol on Boxing Day, yes.
Yeah, I think we've got what it takes to beat those. So that's 6 points doing the maths in my head. And then draws against Blackburn and Stoke would be ideal. But again, I can't see what I as negative as it sounds, I can't see what if we go in the next 4 games winning all 4. Do you know what I mean? So I've got to
Yeah, yeah.
say one of them we might lose. But yeah, I'd be happy with 8. 8 to 12 would be nice.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little bit more optimistic. I'm going to go 9 points. I'm going to go 3 wins and a loss. And I reckon the loss will maybe be against Bristol on Boxing Day, actually, because I went to the Boxing Day fixture last year at Vicarage Road. And as you can imagine, everyone's hungover, full of food, and isn't very energetic after Christmas Day. So the atmosphere is never as good on Boxing Day. So for that reason alone, I'm going to go. It's going to be a very dull game. And yeah, maybe the Watford players won't be up for it. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm going to go 9 points out of them 4. And I think for me, Finn, I think Watford really just need to keep pace with the playoff positions. If we can stay in and around the area where we're at now, between kind of 9th and 6th place, the top half of the championship table, really, and if we can stay there till around, March, April time, then it starts to get very exciting towards the end of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, like you say, if we can stay in and around it and stay consistent, picking up results, picking up points, someone will make a mistake. A team will drop off. You see it every season. There's always a team hanging around the playoffs, not really been in it all season, and then right on the very last day they finish 6th and end up winning the playoffs. So
Yes.
I think as long as we're in and around the playoffs for the whole season, I think I'll be happy. To be honest, I'll be happy if we don't go up. I think it probably, for us as a club, I think it would be best if we don't
Yeah.
go up. Don't get me wrong, I'd love it if we do. I'm kind of in a win-win situation, really. If we go up,
Yeah.
fantastic. If we stay down, good. Who cares?
It's always nice being in the Championship and winning a lot more matches than you would do in the Premier League, right? But equally, you want Watford to play the biggest teams in the country. Want Watford to go away to Man United, Liverpool,
Yeah.
City, Arsenal, all these teams. It's always very exciting. But then the Championship is arguably, one of the best divisions in the world as well. It's fun. You get to go to different stadiums all over the country. So as you say, a win-win situation, really. We could, can either stay in the Championship and have a great season next year, or go up this year and have a promotion party. So we'll have to wait and see. Finn, do you have a message for us before we head off for Christmas? Are you getting up to anything exciting in particular yourself? Are you going around a family member's house? Are you having Christmas at home? What are you up to over the Christmas period?
Oh, it's quite sad, really. I'm working on Christmas Day, so
Oh
I
no!
know. But Boxing Day, I'm going round to my auntie. She does sort of a family get together every
Yeah.
year, so I will most definitely be watching Watford and then going round to my auntie's, and that should be a good time. You doing
Yes.
anything interesting?
With your new shirt, hopefully, that you're going to get on
Oh,
Christmas as well.
of course. Yeah. But yeah, you doing anything interesting? You go around to see family members or anything?
Yeah, so everyone's coming to our house this year. So my nan and my uncle are coming round, and then it's me, my mum, my dad, and my younger brother. And then on Boxing Day, it's very unusual, but my dad and my mum are going to come to the game as well. They don't usually come to watch Watford, but yeah, as we're all here together, they're going to come to the game with me and my brother as well. And I believe they might be sitting in the rookery for the game as well, which I'm sure will be an experience for them, to say the least. So yeah, those are my Christmas plans. Let us know your Christmas plans if you are celebrating in the comments section down below. Finn also has an Instagram page himself where we post the latest Watford news and his general thoughts and opinions. And you can find Finn at Watford FC Hub on Instagram. And I believe you're at FOnans on Twitter as well. Is that your personal Twitter account, Finn?
It is, yeah. I do have a Watford FC Hub Twitter. I just never use it. So if you want to hear what rubbish I spout on Twitter, follow FOnans on Twitter.
Fantastic stuff. And thank you so much for joining us today. Apologies, it's been so long since the last podcast, but me and Finn, we thought we'd get together before Christmas to have another chat about Watford. I'm sure we'll get back together after the new year as well to chat all things Watford and hopefully some new signings in January. We'll have to wait and see. But apart from that, please subscribe to the channel. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and we'll catch you again very soon with another podcast. Bye-bye.